If you or anyone around you are affected by the subjects of today's podcast, you can reach out to get help, advice, or support from our charity partners, Women's Aid, at womensaid.org.uk, or the Yorkshire-based organisation IDAS at idas.org.uk. You can also find these links and reach out to us directly via our website, takebackthebeat.co.uk, or email us at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. Hi.
Hello. Were we both waiting for the other one to say hi?
Yeah, we were, definitely.
Yeah, sorry.
I couldn't see your face for a minute either, so I was like, is she going to speak?
Is she there?
Is it me?
Hey guys, welcome back to Take Back the Beat.
Voice notes. Da-da-da.
I wasn't sure. Da-da-da. We've had this song in our head.
Yeah, we've been singing a little ditty. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Or a ditty? Ditty?
Ditty. Ditty? I say ditty. But
Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And we don't know what it is. So Mike, if you're listening, or anyone listening, please email in, because we probably won't know by then either, like when this is out, what it was.
It's really annoying us.
It is annoying us.
Also, just an FYI, guys, Farah has been struck by some sort of cold. So this episode will be sponsored by Farah's low vocal folds.
I sound so sexy. Hey, boys.
She's like, you don't mind if I'm a bit monotone today?
Yeah, I'm just going to lay here. This is it. I'm going to stay right here. Although Leanne will be listening. That's our other very good friend. She messaged me after the first podcast because I think we'd been talking for hours at that point because we'd done like 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And my voice obviously went here. And she messaged and she was like, you sound so sexy. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. So Leanne, today is dedicated to you.
So Farah, on a scale of 0 to a whole jar of Biscoff, how is your mental health this week? What's
Do you know
it
what?
saying?
I'm good. I'm not I'm not in the jar this week. We're not there.
Great.
I'm not smashing jars. I'm not.
No, love that.
No, I haven't even opened the cupboard.
Babe,
good.
Any particular reason that's you keeping up this week, or just happy?
I'm just feeling vibes. The tickets are on sale for everything. So I'm petrified, but I'm also like, this is fucking awesome, and I can't wait to meet everyone. I can't wait to create a safe space, and I can't wait to be with a group of people with singing my songs. Like, it's a dream.
Yeah,
it's the dream at an incredible established venue in London that are happy to have us. Like, just that sentence, and I'm happy. So it's been good. And then obviously I got to see you in the flesh.
You did. You saw my skin and everything.
Yeah, we had a little snuggle.
We did.
Talked about North Korea at 3:00 in the morning because I've fallen down a YouTube rabbit hole of North Korea. I'm not going to say too much because it gives me a lot of anxiety because I think
I know, and also
I feel like my phone's listening, and I'm just
that's
convinced.
What I was going to say. Yeah, you said you weren't going to talk about it because you're scared that your phone's listening and they were going to come and get. This is literally 3 a.m. chats of Farah. Literally was like, good night. Did you know that I was like, I'm not going to know this. And then next thing I know, I'm like, right, I'm just going to dream about North Korea before I've got rehearsals. Thanks, babe.
I swear, though, I went to London quite early. I got the train and stayed a few days. So my train, I had to get up at like 6 a.m. And at 1 a.m, I was still sat on YouTube. Go to sleep, but I was like, the next part of this documentary, and then I found myself like Googling stuff that I didn't understand in the documentary and falling down those rabbit holes and then going back to that, and it was like 4 a.m. and I messaged Nat, I was like, what am I doing? What else? But we went to see a friend perform.
We did. Kaylee McKnight, friend
got
of
a
the
lot
podcast.
of work done.
We did.
The only thing is, and I'm going to say it right now, if anybody is listening and they want to... No, it's not. That sounded threatening. I'm sorry. I'm going to take... It's the voice today. We don't know where we're at.
It is the voice.
I'll change that. So, I will say this. If anyone's listening, because we're trying so hard to find sponsors, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very
people
difficult.
do not want to give us their money.
No.
Who'd have thought?
How rude.
How
But
rude.
no, we really, really, if anyone out there's listening and they know of any, sponsorships or grants that we can get or help that we can get for Take Back the Beat, because we want to continue this journey and it's difficult at the minute. So please help us. Please help us. Please, fund the process of this, the movement. And
please,
so that we
please.
can continue to work with our management and stuff like that and help put the word out there. So yeah, if anyone's got any suggestions, like our email address is takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. So send us some stuff over, or you can find us on socials. So
yeah, we're also on Patreon.
Yes, we are on Patreon.
We're on Patreon where you can donate monthly and you get like inside clips. We're going to do like a vlog on there of us looking for sponsorship and like sorting out everything, which we've started filming, which has just been hilarious.
You'll also get little snippets of our Zoom that we're doing like right now, so you can see us while we're doing the podcast.
There's lots of really exciting things on there. It's just basically we are funding everything ourselves currently, and we don't want anyone working for free. So we are paying our bands, we are paying our sound engineers, we are paying everybody, and it's hard. But we believe in this cause, and we just need some help from someone so that we can help do this and then help raise awareness, and then eventually with the events and stuff, we can make a lot of money for Women's Aid, which would just
it's not so
amazing.
we can go on holiday, guys. It's
God no.
I need a holiday, but it's not so we can go on. If you want to pay for me to go to New York for a week, I'm there.
But in the meantime,
but in the meantime, it's definitely to fund this project, and even little things like social media and promotion and paying for adverts so that we can sell to it. It's a whole shebang. You all know what what it's about out there. So, but yeah, we are funding this ourselves at the moment, and we could do with a little bit of help.
But yeah, so I'm glad you're doing well. Poor Biscoff's not seen the light of day, but
sorry, Biscoff.
good for you.
Yeah, but no, I'm good, and I'm working tomorrow, so more pennies for the Take Back the Beat box.
Woo!
How are you, my darling?
Do you know, as always, we are in sync, and I've not even right, this is it. My mum offered me a Biscoff cupcake this morning, and I was like, nah, I'm all right.
Wow.
I'm good.
I'm impressed.
I think I've had a lot of things kind of happen recently that have kind of put a lot of things in perspective again, and I think we always need a reminder of that. And even stuff like I did a gig the other day just for money. It's like a corporate gig. I was singing covers, and it was the first time I'd just sung just to sing. And just like, obviously I was getting paid for it when the money's gone straight to Take Back the Beat. But it was like, there's no pressure here. This is literally just me, my microphone, just having a sing song. And I was like, God, I love these songs. And I was singing songs from the 90s. And like, I did the script. I did Maroon 5. And I was like, oh my God, I've not done this in ages. And it just felt quite nice.
Yeah.
And then obviously saw you. We had a little glass of wine and to celebrate everything that's happening, and like the fact that 6 months ago we sat in my kitchen going, we want to do something, but how do we do this? How do we feel a bit safer? And how
the
do we
progress
help?
so far, we seem to forget. I think we get so wrapped up in everything, but like,
it's doing well.
I'm sat looking at my laptop now, and I'm like, oh, that's our logo, and this is our movement, and look how many people have jumped on board to help from that little meeting when I was on tour and I came to stay with you. Yeah, and we just sat at like your kitchen table. I had 7 coffees and a what did we have?
Right, how do we do
cinnamon
this?
bun, and we just wrote like why, how, all that stuff, and like now look, and so I'm definitely I'm with you on that.
I think it definitely helps, and it always helps kind of seeing you in person. We said this because then we're not going, because it is really easy to go, oh God, I've done all this, and oh, I've got to go do this, and it's like, actually we've got 2 people doing this, and we also our producer as well who's also doing stuff. So so Biscoff, fuck off.
now they might want to sponsor us.
Biscoff, if you're listening, we'd love. Have we even contacted Biscoff?
I feel like...
Babe, I don't think we have.
Did we not do it on LinkedIn?
No.
Oh my God.
That's going on my list. Babe, first thing we're doing, tagging Biscoff. We've missed a trick, guys. Don't worry. We're going to get Biscoff.
We've been moaning all this time and we've not actually put him on our list. It was a bit silly.
That was a bit stupid, wasn't it? Anyway. Right. So this episode is a bit of a personal one. Oh, God, I feel like that's every week now. We're getting right into it. The reason it's personal is because we both know this person very, very well. In fact, I've known her my whole life. She is my sister. She has agreed to come on and talk to us about a past relationship as well as something that happened to her quite recently online. And yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because she said to me the other day that there's things that she's never said and there's things I don't know and blah, blah, blah. And obviously that's the same with our stories. So I'm really intrigued, nervous. Also, if I go a bit quiet, it's probably because I'm just really angry and yeah.
But
it's hard, isn't it?
We're all in it together.
We got this together.
Yeah. And hopefully she'll feel good after, like we did.
Yeah, like we did.
Yeah.
So are you ready for this, guys?
Let's do it.
Woo!
Kelly, let's have you.
Okay, so Kelly Michelle Gray is now in the room. Hey, Kel.
Hey.
Just a full disclosure to our audience. We've had some technical difficulties and Kelly has gone from being in a spin studio to a cupboard to in her car. And we're gonna very tightly cross our fingers that everything works. Okay.
Yes. Come on, do it.
Right. So, Kel, why did you want to come on Take Back the Beat?
Because in all honesty, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I think this is something that people need to talk about, but they don't talk about. And when they do, it's almost like not taken seriously enough ever.
Yeah.
And also it's just so common, and that's what's so terrifying.
Yeah.
Is how we've normalized some of this behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's normal. It's okay to treat someone this way, and it's not. It's really not.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we need to talk about it, and people need to share their stories. As hard as it is, we need to.
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird that like me and Farah have said like the amount of times we've both had messages from friends being like, hey, this happened to me and I've never told anyone. And you're like, oh my God, I never knew. And it's crazy, like close friends. And it's a whole other ball game, like what's happening in the world. And we just don't talk about it. So I'm very grateful that you want to come on and tell us. I mean, randomly, Simon, our producer, he said to us, he was like, oh, your sister, she quite publicly went through something in 2020. And I was like, oh, the flower fairy, which we will come on and talk about, Cal, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
I said to Simon, I was like, well, actually, she's been through very similar things to me. I'll ask her if she wants to come on and talk. And I was like, oh my God, the fact that in a family, like there was two people, and it's just like, this is so mental how common it is. So
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, it happened to my sister as well, which I haven't actually talked about on here. But yeah, I remember things from being younger and, parcels getting dropped at the front door of clothes that he'd like cut up and left at the door and knocked and ran away.
That's crazy.
And there is a huge gap between me and my sister. There's 15 years. She's 15 years older than me. So I was young, so I had no clue what was really going on.
Yeah.
But I remember that specific memory because it was me that opened the door and I was like, ooh, a present. And then I was like, this is like literally like lingerie all cut up into pieces. And I was like, this is definitely not for me. But now obviously I'm older, but I do remember him. I remember meeting him on holiday, came on holiday with us. Like,
That's so weird.
the whole shebang. Yeah. So, and it also happened to my mother as well. So maybe they'll come on as well. But like you said, it's just, it's something that people go, oh, it happened to so-and-so. And oh, it happened like you said, like normalizing it, but it should be spoken about. I think it's very healing to speak about as well. So
absolutely,
we're not here, like you said earlier, to name and shame, but it's you have every right to talk about anything that you've been through.
Yeah. So if you want to start, tell us a little bit about your situation. Obviously, things you don't want to talk about, just tell us. It's a safe space.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Yes.
To quote High School Musical.
It's weird. I'm so nervous about this conversation. I said this to you the other day now. Like, I think it's because, we are such a close family and we talk openly.
Yeah.
But there's so much of this situation that you don't know about, Mum doesn't know about. And I never thought I would ever share it because I didn't think there was any need to.
Yeah.
But actually there is, because I'm the one that's just sat here going, we should all talk about it. But yet I never talk about this.
Yeah.
And this particular situation was my ex, and we split up like 8 years ago. But I have been pretty much predominantly single since then. And I think it's a lot to do with my experience with him, because if I see any similarity at all with a guy, or a tiny little red flag, I push them away. I don't necessarily leave them, which is really weird behaviour. I will push them to a point where they go, I don't want to be with her anymore. Like, I can't date her anymore because this is too much, because I don't want them near me.
Yeah.
But I also won't take the reins and go, actually, I'm walking away. Which is something I'm trying to change, because obviously that's not fair and that's not who I am. But as soon as any of those little flags come up, I'm just like, no, go away. Leave me alone. Get out. I don't trust you. I don't like you. You're going to hurt me. See you later. And that's the behaviour that I've got into ever since this relationship ended. So at the start, he was lovely. And actually, I didn't want to be with him. I'd known him for years. I knew his brother. And he was always just his younger brother. And then he kept messaging me. He's like, I really want to take you out, like, please. And I thought, you know what? I'll just go out for a drink with him. And he was such a charmer, and he was so lovely. And I heard all about how he'd always had a thing for me, and he always wanted me, and, you know, and all this. And I introduced him to my friends, and they were like, Kel, he just looks at you like you are the most incredible thing he's ever seen. And I thought, well, this is what I've been looking for, you know, why shouldn't I give this a go?
Yeah.
But there were flags at the beginning. There were flags. You know, he would little lies, or he'd get messages from girls, or, you know, things like that, and he'd lie about it. But I went with it, and he got into the gym pretty heavily, and he was on steroids, and it got worse and worse, and it became more and more of an addiction.
Yeah.
And I could see it happening. You know, I could see him changing as a person, getting more abusive, like mentally, physically, everything. But I put up with it like we do. And, you know, and he just changed. And it would be like, he'd leave the house in the morning and be like, love you, babe, I'll see you later. And then within 2 hours, I'd get a text where he'd been reminded of an argument or a discussion we'd had like months before. And he'd be like, you're a fucking cunt. I'd get a text just like, you're a fucking cunt, how dare you, like, no one's ever gonna love you, blah blah blah, like, and I'd be like, what the hell, where has this come from? You know where this has come from, like, and he'd bring up something and I'd be like, what the hell? It would just switch. And it got to a point, I think, and I was like, I need to get out of this, because I knew, one, he was cheating on me. He'd been cheating on me since day one. You know, and these women would call him in the middle of the night, and or they'd text him and be like, hi, baby. Like, I'd see the text, and he would look at me and go, don't you fucking look at me like that. Don't start with this crazy shit. And then he'd make me out to be the crazy one, because, oh, I'm sorry, this girl was calling you in the middle of the night. You know, and it was all turned on me. And his ex-girlfriend used to text him, and he'd be like, you're fucking crazy, like, and I'm like, no, this isn't normal. She's calling you baby. She's this isn't right. But I would be the crazy one. And then I think it was like a couple of years in, and I think where it really got bad, I had decided that I needed to get out, but I didn't know how, because I was terrified of him. I mean, he was a big guy, and his mental stability wasn't there, and he would flip, and I was terrified of him. And we went to his brother's wedding, and to begin with, he left me at the church, and I didn't have my phone on me. I didn't know where I was going, and I was like, okay, I'll just stay here in the rain, like, no idea what to do. And his aunt ran back and was like, come on, we're going in the car, like, come with us. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And we're at the wedding, and he's barely talking to me, I'm barely talking to him. He's all over other women, and his mum took me to the side and was like, why do you act like this, Kelly? I'm like, what? Like, why do you act like this? And she's like, you know, you're making a scene, and it's his brother's wedding. And I'm like, what? Because I'm not talking to him. Like, he's not talking to me. He's all over everyone else. He left me at the church. And anyway, we left this wedding, and we got in a taxi, and he let rip in the back of this taxi and was hitting me, and was like, just like punching me in the arm and stuff, and was like, you're a fucking psycho, none of my friends like you, all their girlfriends take the piss out of you. He's laughing at me, And the taxi driver pulled over and turned around and was like, mate, you're getting out of my cab, I'm taking her home. And we're in the middle of nowhere.
God.
And I automatically, though, went, no, please, like, just let us get home. It'll be fine. And he's laughing. He's going, don't fucking stick up for me. Like, I can stick up for myself. And I was like, please, let's just get home. And I was getting upset. And so the taxi driver drove us back to my mum and dad's. And he's still, like, punching the back of the seat. And we get out. And the taxi driver turned to me and he went, here's my number. If you have any problems, you give me a call. And we got into my mum and dad's house and they're upstairs asleep. And we're in my room and he threw my phone at my head. And it, like, literally caught the corner of my eye. And he's just like, you're fucking ugly. You're fucking fat. Like, no one's ever going to want you. You know, you're lucky that I'm with you. Like, my mates literally laugh at what you look like. And everyone knows I'm better looking than you. And he's going on and on. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to go and sleep on the sofa. So I went downstairs and I got on the sofa and I'm sobbing and I called my friend and she was like, Kel, I'm not lying now. I've been terrified for you. I need you to get out of this situation because he's going to hurt you. I was like, I'm fine. And I laid on this sofa and I'm sobbing and he came down and he sat on the edge of the sofa and he got really close to my face and he's like, do you know what, Kel? You're pathetic. Like, you are a fucking joke. We all know that your parents prefer your sister. She's the most talented one. She's honestly, Nags, right?
Fucking hell.
You know, so much better than you. They don't even love you. Yeah, like your parents don't even like you. And he's getting in my head, and he'd been getting in my head about this for months and causing a rift between me and Natalie, between me and my family, because all he would tell me was, they don't love you, Kel. They love Nags. And
just a second. Nags, for the people who aren't listening, Nags is what my family call me. If anyone's like, who the hell is Nags?
Sorry.
Nags is me.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Just, there you go.
Yeah. But he was just going on and on and I was crying and I was looking at him going, why are you doing this to me? Like, you know, and he would laugh. He would laugh at me. And he's like, look at you. Look how sad you are. Like, no one's going to love you ever. And then he just started hitting me, like, kind of like a little, like, sort of slap almost, you know, just on the body and everything. I was like, you're really hurting me, like, go away, please just leave me alone, like, please just stop going on at me. I can't handle this anymore. And he's just laughing the whole time, and this went on for about an hour, and it was like a little chihuahua at your feet, just like biting your ankles, like constantly going.
Stop.
Yeah, and I was begging him, like, please just leave me alone. Like, I can't take this anymore. And he's laughing. Anyway, he went upstairs. And then, like, the next day, it was like nothing had happened. And this would happen all the time. But the thing is, he would never do it in front of the people that were his people.
Yeah.
But he was happy to do it in front of my people. So, like,
that's exactly the same situation that happened with me, actually. It would do it in front of my family, no problem.
Yeah.
But never, like, knew when to do it so that everyone would see him as this really nice person. And then he knew how to get me to a breaking point so that I'd look like the psycho.
Crazy one. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very scary and clever. That it really is.
Yeah. Even now, if you were to ask any of them, I probably think they'd say, like, yeah, Kelly's psycho, like, because of the things he would do and tell them.
Yeah.
But
same.
like, we were talking the other day, and my mum actually turned around. I never knew this, and she said that there was one time where he was going at me so much in the living room, and the door was closed, that she got a knife, and because he's such a big guy, and she stood there with a knife thinking, I'm gonna have to go in a minute. And she was crying, and she said as well, the amount of times that she'd sit in her room and just cry because she was like, I don't know what else to do, I don't know how to go and fix this, how to stop him. And she was so scared that he was literally gonna take my face off.
The problem is,
but to his friends and family,
it's the whole thing of, like, when do you intervene? Like, again, me, you and Mum are being very open at the moment, mainly because of this podcast. I mean, the great thing is this podcast is helping a lot of people, but it's also making these conversations very normal in our household. And we had this conversation, and Mum just told us this, and neither of us knew that she'd felt like, and she was like, I don't give a shit what he did to me. He was a huge dude. She's like, I did not care, but she was like, if anyone hurts my babies, I'd have him. But the problem is, and we both did this in both our collective situations, whenever anyone would say anything, we would defend. And mum said she was worried about losing us because what do you do? And like you said, like this guy you're talking about, he was very, very clever because he went, you are so close to your family and your sister. The best thing to do is split it up. And he did. It worked. It 100% worked.
Yeah.
We didn't talk for about a year. Like there was
absolutely, yeah.
There was times when he would turn up at the house and be like, if Nat's here, I'm leaving, and then you'd have to kick off at mum and dad, and it was like you knew you were doing wrong, but you were terrified, and we all knew that. But at the same time, I was a kid. I was like, well, fuck this. I'm not having this. And we ended up, it was totally split because I hated that man with an absolute passion, and I'm quite hot-headed, and I wanted to defend you, but at the same time, it's so hard when you are being pushed away and going, there's nothing you can do. So when mum told us that the other day, we were both like in shock and we laughed it off. And at the same time, I was like, it must be absolutely fucking terrifying hearing.
I know, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Absolutely, because it put such a wedge between us all. And it was so hard because I was trying to hold on to this relationship because he tore me down so much. I didn't think that any of my friends liked me.
Yeah.
I didn't think any of my family liked me.
Yeah.
All I had was him.
Yeah.
And this guy, and I knew full well that he was hurting me, and he was having affairs left, right and centre, mainly with one girl who I randomly, once I managed to get away from him, I bumped into her and she admitted everything to me, which was weird. It was in a club in Brighton, but that's another story.
Yeah.
And but because we sat down and we chatted, and I said, I need to know the truth because he made me out to be so crazy. It put everything into perspective in the end. Yeah. And I was like, I understand I wasn't crazy. Like I was right. He was with her the whole time. But the family situation, like I get angry with myself. I'm sorry, I'm going to get really emotional now because this is the only thing. Because it put such a wedge between me and my family for so long, because he just, like, he would tell me all these things and it got into my head, which is crazy because these are my world, you know, like out of anyone. He just, especially Natalie, there was the things he would say, and then he would kind of like flirt with one of her friends and then put it on her to me and say, oh, she keeps trying it on with me. So then I got like, oh, hang on a minute, you know, what is this? Is my sister against me? I don't understand, you know. And we had this one holiday that was just, I mean, it was horrendous. We all went to Cuba and it should have been an incredible holiday. But there was this French-Canadian girl there with her mum. And every time we were out, he would stare at her and she would stare back at him. And it got so uncomfortable for me because they'd just be staring at each other. And I'd look at him and go, what are you doing? You're making me feel really uncomfortable here. And he's like, oh, fuck off. And then we had a big row about it because he disappeared. We were in the club one night and he disappeared and this girl disappeared. And I don't know to this day what happened, like where they went or what happened. But we had this big row, and then a couple of nights later we were in bed having sex and he literally went, oh, French-Canadian girl.
Fucking hell.
While we were having sex.
What the fuck?
And it's little games like that where you go like, why the fuck did I put up with this shit? Like how dare you?
It's not that you put up with it, but at this point it's like you said, they know exactly what. It's a whole process. You know, they break you down, they isolate you from your loved ones. It's a whole thing. Like, it's not that you just one day was like, oh, I'm in this and that's it. You know what I mean? It's a thing that happens gradually, and like it's all psychological, it's emotional. It's not just something where you can just walk away. So, you know, there are those moments I used to have, and I'd just be like, what the fuck am I doing? That's it, I'm leaving tomorrow. And then you can't. And it's just like you said, you wake up the next day and they pretend like nothing happened. So then you go, am I a nutter? Because I was about to leave, but today is normal. So have I overreacted? Like,
and this guy,
it's like, so fucked.
I know, obviously, I've been through similar stuff, but this guy was the king of manipulation. Like,
Yeah.
And like I said, he very much, like me and Kel are very close. We're very close, especially as family. We're extremely close. But we hated each other in this point because he would do that to her. He would tell her these things about me, but then he would be an asshole to me and say things about like to me. And I was like, I can't say anything because you're my sister's boyfriend. And as much as I want to scream and literally kick off at you, I can't do that. And then this particular holiday Kel's talking about, I remember because he used to flirt with my mate who I'd taken on holiday, and she would say to me, I don't know what to do, because she was a strong feminist and she was like, I want to tell him where to shove it, but I'm with your family, I can't do this, can't do that. And this one day he turned up at our hotel room door and he would just knocked on the door and opened the door, and I was like, you're right? And he was like, yeah, what are you up to? And I was like, we're getting dressed. And he was like, oh, okay. So can I come in? And I was like, absolutely not. And he was like, oh, okay. And then like he denied that he turned up at our door. And me and my mate were just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, and we to the point were going, he did, yeah. And it's little things like that I saw a glimmer of and was like, whatever he's doing, I don't know whether he genuinely believed it, whether he needs psychiatric help. I don't know. I don't know if it's the drugs he was on, but he believed everything he said.
Drugs don't help.
No.
Drugs don't help, obviously. And I know that, like, I had the same... Oh, God, I nearly said his name there.
Oh, God.
I had the same. But it got to a point where it was every time he blamed drugs and alcohol. And I was like, well, it's a Sunday morning and, you know, we've not been out, so you can't blame everything on that. But... Yeah, it is a factor of it, but the fact, like you said, that he convinced himself enough to almost have you thinking, like, two people.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Like,
well, Kel, do you remember?
I think your ex and my ex are related by the sounds of it.
Like, Kel, sorry, jump on your story, but do you remember we had a huge argument because I was living in London at this point and I was coming home and I did try to avoid when he was there because I couldn't, and I saw so much of my ex in him. And I was terrified for you, but at the same time, you turned into the person I was at that point, and I knew that there's nothing I could do. Yeah. There's nothing, because I was kind of the target of his hate. He knew that he had to separate us, and the best thing to do was get rid of the person who was probably going to call him out. But I remember coming upstairs, and you made me a cup of tea, and it was like this olive branch of like, hi, and I was like, thank you. Okay, that was weird. Like, we don't usually talk. And then the next thing I remember was this screaming coming from your bedroom, and he'd turned around and said that I never said thank you, and then it like kicked off at you for making me a cup of tea. That was the level of his like craziness. Like,
he went crazy,
mental. Because
that was a bad one.
Because you'd made me a cup of tea.
He was literally throwing things at me.
Yeah.
I made Nags a cup of tea, and he lost his shit at me. And it got so bad. He was like, "You're a
for him, it's like
mug."
You broke that connection that he spent all that time trying to isolate you from.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh fuck, it's falling to pieces."
Yeah,
he stormed out the house.
Yeah, he did. He stormed out the house, and I remember Mum just crying, and I went, "I'm gonna go." I was like, "I'm just gonna get my bag, and I'm gonna go because it's something." Whatever he's doing, this game he's doing, I'm making it worse by being here, and it's not making it worse for me. It's making it worse for Kel. And as much as we're not friends, we're not talking. I'm not gonna put like fuel to the flames. I need to remove myself from the situation. Know that I'm here, but I can't. I'm making it worse.
Yeah,
and it was terrifying.
Such a horrible time. Yeah. I mean, I lost everything because of him. He didn't want me performing to the point that I was actually on tour when we first started going out. And I remember they'd called beginners, so I was like in the wings, ready to go on stage. And he texted me and was just like, I know that you're fucking about while you're on these tours, like, you're fucking disgusting. Started calling me all these names, and I'm like, where did this come from? And I burst into tears, and like the techs in the wing were like, are you okay? You got to go on stage. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I had to go and start the show crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what's just happened. And then when they dropped me off and he was picking me up, it was like, hi babe, how you doing? Like nothing.
Yeah.
And so I gave up. I left my agent. I stopped doing that because he didn't want me to. He didn't like my friends, so I stopped talking to my friends. He didn't like family, so he put a wedge in my family. I had no money because I paid for everything. And so when we finished, I was like, I've got nothing. But I remember making that decision to leave him, and I finally did it. And the only way it came about was because he'd gone out with the boys, and he texted me and said, just so you know, my battery's about to die, but I'm staying out tonight, so you won't be able to get hold of me. Wow. And I thought, well, I know what that means. So I texted him, I was like, do you know what? I'm done. And he was like, oh, fuck off, Kel, I'm not having this. And he turned his phone off. And I sent another message and was like, no, I'm being serious. I'm done. So when you turn your phone on, we are done. And then the next day he tried ringing, he tried texting. And all I said was, I meant what I said last night, we're done. And that's when it started again, because he would start parking outside my parents' house. He would start calling the house phone. Yeah. The police contacted me one night because he was on Goring train tracks and gave them my number. He would send me message after message after message, you know, calling me every name under the sun, but then would finish it with, but you know we're meant to be together and I love you, so let's just sort this out. And I remember Mum saying to me, whatever you do, do not go and meet him because I'm worried about what he will do to you. Yeah. And the only safe way for me to finish it was to literally do it over a text. And that's what I did after these years with him. That's all I could do. But I ended up getting a job for BA, and I moved down to Brighton, and I got a new car and I got a new phone, and I started again. Yeah. And it was the best thing I could have done. I mean, I do remember going to Magaluf like the week after we split up, and I had the best time, and it's exactly what I needed to do at the time. Yeah. But like starting again with nothing, like no confidence, I didn't know how to talk to people, and that's not me. I am a bubbly person, and I pride myself on the fact that I can go into a room and I can talk to people I don't know. Yeah. But I wasn't like that. I had nothing. I had to build my relationship with Natalie. I had to build my relationship with my family, with my friends, with myself. Yeah. You know, it was a whole starting again from scratch and forcing myself into situations that I felt uncomfortable in just to find myself again. Yeah. And I did it, and I did that. But I have remained single since then. And it's been a big part of my life. Obviously, I've made vlogs about it and stuff. But it's because now I won't have that in my life again. Yeah. I'm so terrified of it, and I'm so scared of having anybody do that to me again. Yeah, I mean, because obviously I remember when this kind of finished, because you won't work for BA, but you worked for Thompson before then? TUI. Yes. And I remember you had your like final exam, and he'd kicked off like the night before, and you hadn't slept all night. Well, and he put a picture of him and this girl that I knew he was having an affair with as his profile picture on Facebook, the night before my exam, just to piss me off. Yeah. And I remember Mum coming into my room, and again, we were kind of trying to build bridges, and I knew it was the end of you in the sky, and thank fuck. But that was obviously a big part of me, because I knew you'd had these arguments, that I knew that you might go back to him or he might wrangle his way in. And I remember coming in your room, and we both just sat on your bed and just cried. And I was like, you need to get out of here. I was like, you need to start again. This is going to be amazing. You're going to travel the world. You're going to do this, but you need to leave everybody behind, including all of his friends that have become your friends. I'm saying your friends in quotation marks, and get out of this life. And if he turns up at this house, Mum and Dad are strong beings. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they will. Mum is Mama Bear. Like, there's a lot of reasons me and you both didn't tell Mum and Dad what we were going through, because I don't want my Mum and Dad to have got involved, because they are protective people. And I remember this conversation, and then him turning up at the house, and I remember being scared. I remember being scared for my well-being, let alone yours. And I was like, you need to leave. You need to go be with friends, start again, and just completely get rid of him out of your life. Which, thankfully, I mean, we can say this, but he doesn't even live in the continent anymore, does he? No. He ended up moving to Australia, and then he had family over there, and he actually caused so much trouble amongst them that they won't have anything to do with him. But he's still out there. He married someone out there, so he's living out there now, which is great. It's fantastic. But
I hope she's all right as well, though.
Yeah. When you left, like when that final text and stuff was sent and all that sort of stuff, and he did used to turn up at the house. I remember seeing his that car just outside the house. Like, how did you feel about it? Were you scared for your safety? Because we all knew what he was capable of.
I was terrified. I mean, I was scared. I knew at this point I'd got rid of him. But if he was to get near me, I was worried what would happen. And because he was so big and he was terrifying and he could switch.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never told you this actually, but there was one time we had my aunt and uncle's dogs, Harry and Chance, at the house, as well as our dogs at the time. And he was yelling at me so much. Everyone was out of the house, but he was yelling at me so much that one of the dogs peed themselves. Because he was so angry that he'd scared the dog. And I actually, at that point, like, you can mess with me, don't mess with my frigging dogs. And I said to him, get out of the house. Like, you need to get out of the house now. And he was like, fine, I'm going. I said, well, go back to that girl then. He was like, I will, don't you worry. And I slammed the door and I locked it. And I remember texting my mum going, I've done it. And they were like, do you want us to come home? Like, she was with Auntie Ange and they were like, should we come home? And I was like, no, I'm fine, but he's gone. But then by the time they got home, he was back in the house again. Yeah.
He was just so clever, like, in such a horrific way, because he found every insecurity you've ever had. And, like, this bit might get cut out depending on how you feel about it. But I talk about on my episode about how my ex very much fueled my eating disorder. And obviously you suffer with this as well. We have different forms of eating disorders out there, guys, and me and Kel check most of the boxes. I'm making a joke out of it because you have to laugh, otherwise you'll cry.
Yes.
So yeah, sorry if anyone's triggered by that, but it's happened to me, so I can laugh about it. But he very much pulled on the fact that you had these eating disorders in the past, and he very, like, stuff like, you're fat and you're not good enough. And this is something you still struggle with. And it's something I yell at you 24/7 when I see you. If you've lost a pound, I'm like, right, what the fuck's going on? No, come on, sit down, eat a cake. I say this to you all the time because I know the signs, and I know he's very much put into your brain that fat equals worthless. And
yes, absolutely.
And like, it's something we both really struggled with.
Which it doesn't.
100%.
No.
Like, absolutely. I mean, this is the happiest I've been in a committed relationship my whole life, and this is probably the biggest I've been in years, and that doesn't equal anything. It makes no fucking difference. But he very much put in your brain that, oh, you haven't been to the gym today, therefore you're a fat fucking mess. And it's like, well, that's not. And it's something you've stuck with you for the past 8 years. It's a very big, and you know that, it's a very big trait of yours of like, this is one of the first things you always say to me when a fling doesn't work out, or stuff like with the flower fairy or the ghosting, it does go very much onto, because I'm not worth this, I'm not that.
Yeah.
And it's everything he ever fucking said. And it's so frustrating because
it's so true.
Who the fuck is he to say anything to make you feel like that? Like, it's very hard to listen to this story because obviously I'm your sister, and at the time it was such a, like I said, I had to step away because I was making it worse. Just my presence was making it worse. Like, he was so clever. He knew exactly the strong people in your life. Like you said, you were on tour, and all of the people you're on tour with hated him. So therefore, he stopped you being on tour. He stopped you working with those people. You started doing cabin crew, and he hated it because those people were strong, independent people. So he was like, no, I'm going to ruin your final exam. And he knew exactly what to do to get you to still be with him. And it's terrifying.
Absolutely.
He was a grown-ass man.
He was the king of manipulation. And I like to think now that I'm rid of the demons that he sort of put in me. And I do like to think that I am so much stronger now. Like I said, I don't put up with any shit anymore. I will just drive them away. Go away. You know, because I know what I don't want. Yeah. That's one thing for sure. I know what I don't want. And the first thing I ever say to people as well, because I'm so terrified of it happening again, is my family and my world. They come first. And that's so that they know that, like, that there is nothing getting in the way of that anymore. Never. Yeah. You know, but there are still things, like you say, if when I'm dating someone and I feel rejected, the first thing I go to is things that he has put in my head. I'm not pretty enough. My boobs aren't big enough. I'm not skinny enough.
It all comes down to you.
Yeah. It's never, it's just not right between the two of you. It's never,
it must be me. Yeah.
It's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Well, thank you for sharing us about him. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions I want to ask, but I can't. But the other thing I wanted you to talk about is obviously so for those who don't know, Kel created this incredible YouTube series called All's Fair in Love and Tinder. If you haven't watched it, go fucking watch it. It's really funny. It's literally all based on true events. Every story.
Thank you.
I can 100% say from what I heard firsthand, all these stories on this YouTube series are true. These are all dates that Kelly went on and all experiences she had, and she's made it into something very funny. But so yeah, at the beginning of 2020, Kel made this Single and Skin, which is basically All's Fair in Love and Tinder, and it's all these different things, and it's what it says on the tin. It's single and skin, and it started off something really funny, and then it got a bit sinister. Do you fancy just telling us a little bit about the Flower Fairy?
So it all started, I was working in a gym, and I started getting deliveries of massive, beautiful flowers at the same day every week. Went on for weeks, and I was like, what is going on? So I started vlogging about it, was trying to work out who it was. I was getting like poems with hints and all this sort of stuff. Then chocolates were coming. He sent a big box of like chocolate cake and sweets and all sorts. And this went on for ages, at least a few months.
Yeah.
And he then made a Instagram profile called the Single and Skimp Flower Fairy, and then contacted me using this. Now, obviously, this was a fake profile. It had no followers. He wasn't following anyone. So it was just a way for him to communicate with me.
Yeah.
And he was giving me all these hints about... Yeah. So he was giving me all these clues and stuff. And it was great for me because it was giving me great content, let's be honest, for Single and Skimp.
Absolutely.
And so people were invested. I was getting people that hadn't watched Single and Skimp before becoming invested. People that I hadn't spoken to for years were contacting me like, I need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it was great. Anyway, we had decided, I couldn't work out who he was. I'd made lists, and everyone I'm thinking of, they're married, they've got a long-time partner. And I actually said in one of my videos, whoever it is has to be single, because I've made this so public that they're going to be called out, right? Anyway, we'd agreed to meet. And my sister and your boyfriend, Aidan, they were coming along so that I wasn't going to be on my own. We were going to film it. And about a week beforehand, he'd sent me a picture of his sister and said, do you recognise her? You know, this is my sister. We're really close. He told me that they were like best friends. He even said one night, I'm just about to meet my sister. We're going for Wagamama's. Like, he put her into his story a lot. Sent me this picture.
Did you
and I was like,
recognise her?
No, didn't recognise her at all. Attractive girl, didn't recognise her. So the day before we were due to meet, I was like, there's got to be some way I can find out who she is. So the picture was her up at the O2. So in Instagram, I put in hashtag up at the O2 and all their pictures come up and the picture was there. So I then saw who she was.
I love this.
All right?
I love
We're
this.
women, because we will find everything.
FBI guys right here.
MI5
We'll find your
people.
credit score, everything.
I fucking
We
love
know
it.
everything. Do not lie. Don't fuck with her. So I found her. Found her on Instagram. Looked through her Instagram. No brother. Couldn't see it anywhere. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, really random. I know your brother. You know, like... She replied, I don't have a brother. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fuck.
I messaged him and was like, hey, really weird. I managed to do some stalking today, found your sister, but she doesn't seem to know who you are. Within minutes,
Block.
the whole Single and Skimp Flower Fairy disappeared. Gone. Everything gone. All messages gone.
Yeah.
So I'm devastated at this point because all I can think of is someone's had a really expensive but fucking bad joke with me. I have been the butt of their jokes. They're probably laughing at me. This is horrendous. Like, I felt like such a mug.
But like,
and all at once,
also,
everything came.
Like, do you remember? Like, I remember sat there with me, you and Aidan over a coffee, and you got all the clues out because there was like poems he'd written you, and it said something like, "You ghosted me in the past. You wore," and he described this outfit you wore that I always call your date outfit. And it was like, yeah, I was like, that's the outfit you would wear on a date.
Yeah.
And he'd like said really specific stuff. So you knew that you had met this guy. It wasn't like a fake guy. You knew. He knew things about you. Like,
I remember
absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
like
it's weird.
details of where you were, and didn't you know like where you
Exactly.
lived?
He knew things.
He knew where she worked because he kept sending you
Yeah.
flowers to your work. And I said to you, I was like, be really careful what you're putting on social media. We've all seen You, the Netflix series. Like, be careful. And like Aidan, bless him, like my boyfriend's a little bit cynical when it comes to like things like this. And he literally was like, I said to you, like, messaged me and he was like, I am a little bit worried about Kelly and this guy. Like, and I was like, it's fine. Like, we're going to go, we'll be there if she meets him. And he was like, I'm getting serial killer vibes. And I was like, we've got this. She is fine. So it wasn't like a complete stranger. He knew things. He knew things about you. And he had you on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
So he knew everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, carry on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just disappeared. I was mortified. I remember calling you. I was like hyperventilating, like, oh my God, like what's happened? Who has done this to me? Why would they do this to me? Why would they like, and then I started freaking out because I was like, he does know so much about me and like, oh my God. So anyway, Christmas happened. Nothing else from the Flower Fairy. He had just disappeared. And I sat there over Christmas thinking, there has got to be some way I can find out who this is. Because whoever it is was following me on Instagram, right? Because that's how they knew me. That's how they knew where I worked and stuff, surely.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had told me the name of his golf club. So I thought, okay, let's go on the golf club Instagram.
I remember this.
And they only had about 500 followers. So I thought, okay, this has got to be easy to look through. I'm looking through. There was only one person on there who I knew. I was like, right, okay, yep. We had dated years ago. I wasn't interested in him at the time. Okay. He had also told me his birthday, and he told me that he went to Southampton Uni. So I then put in his name into Google and his LinkedIn came up.
This is so funny.
Southampton Uni, same birthday. He'd also sent me once this box of goodies.
I'm so sorry
and
to
on
interrupt you, but for a start, I'm sorry this happened to you because what a fucking bellend. But
Yeah.
what a fucking dream you are. You need to contact Netflix because this is the sort of shit I watch. Like, for real.
Right,
you need to get in touch with Netflix.
I've told
and be
her
like,
this.
this fucking happened to me.
Yes, write this.
Like, for real. Like,
Well,
I'm
if
fully
anyone's
invested.
listening from Netflix, if anyone's listening, I'm more than happy to talk, okay? We can call it like the flower swindler, whatever, I don't know. But, yeah, so like, I'd worked out the Southampton Uni, date of birth, and then this box, it had an old postcode on the bottom of it. It was like an old box. The postcode was registered to his company. So I then had
right
it.
now.
I was like, bish, bash, bosh, it's you.
Yeah.
So I then first of all, I put a post up on Instagram and said, I've been in contact with the police, which I had, and they know who you are, and I know that you're reading this.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I never thought it was him was because he had got married a year beforehand.
Yeah.
So I had him on my list of people I dated, but I crossed him off because he had got married the year before. So I then messaged him and I said, I think you've got some explaining to do. And he came straight back with, yes, I have. Can I call you?
Such a prick.
Oh my.
So,
what?
yeah. So he then calls me and I was, oh my God, the fuming fire of flame in my stomach was just, I mean, it was coming out of my ears. And I said to him, does your wife know? And he said, yeah, I've had to tell her because she said about the police. And I was like, okay, well, what did she say? And he goes, she understood.
Understood
And
what?
I went,
Lies.
right, that he was trying to do something nice for someone. That was why he did
Bullshit.
it. That's what the reason he gave me.
Bullshit.
She doesn't know.
Yeah.
She didn't know. You fucking liar.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I said to him, I was like, either you haven't told her the whole truth,
Yeah.
or she's a bigger mug than anyone I know and you deserve each other, because
Yeah.
whoever would put up with that shit, do you know what? More fool. You deserve it if that's the case, but I don't think she does.
I think she
Although
knows.
she blocked me on Instagram.
I reckon,
because I looked at her.
Yeah, no, I reckon he said something like, "Oh, this girl is obsessed with me," or "I used to date this girl." You know that whole crazy thing that they pretend women are.
Yeah.
Like, we've always said it's a red flag. If a guy ever says to me, "Oh, that girl's crazy,"
Yes.
I'm like, "Right, red flag, cool." Why is she crazy? What did you?
Absolutely.
What did you do?
What did you do?
What did you do?
What did you do to make her crazy?
Yeah, to flip that switch.
Because she didn't start crazy. She didn't start crazy.
No.
Yeah.
So, you know, what happened? But yeah, so he reckons that he told her everything. They're still together. They are still together.
It's bullshit.
But I think to myself, you spent like 4 to 6 months sending me flowers that were probably about £70 ago each week. Now,
Yeah.
did that come out of your joint account? Did she pay for those? Should I be saying thank you to her? Because you've spent all this money sending me flowers every week, writing me poems.
Did the police do anything? Like, or did you, like, what was his excuse? Why did, like, what did he say he did all this for? Because you rejected him or you didn't want him?
So he said he was doing it just to do something nice for someone.
How is that nice?
Yeah,
Fucking
exactly.
into somebody's life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then when I spoke to the police, they basically said they couldn't do anything because once you put anything on social media, it belongs to the world of the internet. Yeah. So any pictures, it's like you going to Oxford Street and dropping a load of naked pictures of yourself. They then belong to whoever picks them up. Like, it is that free. Like, anything you put on the internet belongs to anybody out there. So it was fine what he was doing. He didn't threaten me. You know, he hadn't caused me any physical harm.
No, he just stalked you.
So therefore...
Yeah, it's a stalking.
Yeah, stalked me and mentally disturbed
Is that not
me.
illegal anymore, stalking?
No,
Okay,
no.
cool.
And because
Good to know.
because as well, in their terms, I basically went along with it.
Yeah.
Because I was vlogging about it, then they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So there's no law in place.
It wasn't genuine. It was a hoax.
No.
So how is that not?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
You know.
I know. And in a way, it is kind of bullying. It's online harassment.
Yeah.
But they said to me, they are trying so hard to get laws in place for social media, but they cannot do it. No. It's almost like the social media is run by a load of these robots that don't exist. Like, how many times have we wanted to report something on Instagram and you don't get anything back?
Yeah.
Report something on Facebook, you don't get anything back. Someone else can take your pictures and make a whole profile, but you can't do anything about it. Me too.
I don't know if it's a girl, but there's somebody on Instagram who's taken my Farrah music stuff and made a page. There's a picture of you on there, Nat, me and you at Pride, and they've taken all my hashtags. They've just flipped my name a little bit, and the only reason I realised was because when I was in Ibiza, we met a group of people and we were all exchanging Instagram handles, and somebody had put my handle in, like, one word in front of the other instead of the other way around, and they were like, "Oh, is this you?" Yeah. It's not got many followers, obviously, and I was like, it is, but that's not me. And I clicked on it, and like somebody's tried to just make a whole profile, like my exact like captions from my Instagram, the same hashtags, the same profile pictures,
but they'll do nothing about it.
Me with Nat at Pride, but I've reported it. I've inboxed them. I'm like, hey, you're me. Like, I got my brother was like, excuse me, this is not okay, but no one replies, and it's not taken down.
But it's they don't care. They do not. I'm on Bumble apparently. There's a literally.
But
I know
this. Is the thing. It's like, what are they doing with your profile?
Exactly. Well,
like, who is messaging Farrah music official or official music? Yeah. That's all they've done is change that one word around.
It's just that people don't care. Like I've had people message me being like, "I swear you're in a relationship," and I'm like, "I am." And
I
they're
swear
like,
you're on Pornhub. Like, that's what I'm waiting for.
And then she's like, "Why is your profile on Bumble?" And I'm like, "I've never been on a dating website." And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Sure."
But this is the thing, like,
so invasive. Like I saw that, and even though it's not got a big following and it's not, you know, but people follow it and people like the pictures, and I was like,
it's not me.
I feel really like I felt naked. I felt like, oh my god,
invaded.
Who is this fucking person?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah. And then I was like, is it an ex? Is it what are they doing? It's mad. It's not nice.
This is it. it's horrible because you feel like someone has literally just invaded your soul. Like someone's taken your personal diary and just shown it to the world. And it's so hard. And that's how I felt with him, because I was like, who have I been talking to?
Yeah.
I don't understand when it first happened, like what the hell? But again, and changing the subject almost a little bit slightly, it's like, you know, when people send nude pictures, like I will never do that.
No.
Never ever. Because I have had, like my ex, he threatened to send them to people that we'd sent private pictures to each other while we were in a relationship, and even after that he threatened to use them. And you hear about this so much, and people do that on these social media sites. They're stealing people's pictures or using ex's naked pictures and putting them everywhere. So it's so dangerous. Like just any kind of pictures, you've got to be so careful. And when I hear people saying, oh, you know, I just sent him a little like sneaky picture, I'm like, why would you do that?
Just don't.
Why?
Yeah,
I did it though. You know, I met him very young, and at the time you worked away for a couple of weeks at a time, and it's just what you did. Like, I'd be like, well, I'm sending it to his phone, so you know he can save them for him. Yeah. But towards the end, I do remember it was like there was a time where I blocked him on everything, and he managed to get through. Like he created a new email or created a Facebook thing, and he was like, and sent me the pictures of myself from like from a couple of years ago, and was like, I will if you don't fucking answer your phone, I will post these.
Oh my god, that's horrific.
So fucked up.
So obviously then that was it. I was like answering the phone. But then because it was the pure panic, I was like, oh my god, that's me. Like I don't have them on my phone. I completely forgot about them. It was me in Thailand, because I've been away for like 2.5 weeks as well, and he was working away before and not seeing him. So we were just sending pictures to each other, as you do. And the sheer panic, I just picked up the phone and I was like, what the fuck? But then he laughed about it. Like I felt myself go completely red hot and sweaty, and I was like, oh my god, that's my worst fear. I could throw up right now. And he answered the phone and he was laughing. He was like, as if I'd fucking do that, dickhead.
Prick.
And I was
what
like,
a twat.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Right.
It was the worst. And then also when I calmed down, but at the time, like that fear, honestly, I was just like crying, shaking. I felt like I could be sick, because obviously when you open something, you don't expect to see your naked body on there. The picture that I forgot I'd sent anyway. Because it was to a partner. And I just remember then coming off, and I was obviously really angry when I got off the phone, and I Googled it, and I was like, obviously at the time I hadn't processed that I could actually just get him done for that anyway. Like he could go to fucking prison for doing that. And then I think I unblocked him and sent him this whole thing, and I was like, I'm keeping that, because if that ever does happen, I've got proof that you said you were going to post it. So not only could you get locked away for that, but like, why the fuck would you? But then again, convinced me to be like, but I just did it because I needed you to answer the phone because you've been ignoring me for 3 weeks. I'm like, because. So it's that whole thing of, but the sheer panic of when I opened that email, I was like, that's my body, that's me naked.
Do you know, it's really horrific. Like, just to be a bit different here, but a friend of mine,
I feel like we've gone off on a tangent. Sorry,
but I love it. A friend of mine, I'm not going to name her because I don't think she kind of wants people to know that this did happen years and years ago, but her ex, there's a name for this, isn't there? It's revenge porn. Revenge porn, that's what it's called, isn't it?
Revenge porn,
When she left him, and he was abusive, when she left him, he put up a post, and it was all her naked selfies or pictures he'd taken of her. And she said to me, my heart sunk, I felt sick. But then I went, yeah, that is fucking me. Look at me. I'm fit. And she shared it on Facebook. And she put, hell yeah, this is me. I go to the gym 3 times a week and I look fucking good for my age. And literally within about an hour, he'd taken it down. Because she went, you're not. And she said to me, I felt sick and I knew that I could lose my job. I knew that my friends and family would see it, but I had to own it. I had to go, I did that. And come on, show me someone that's never done that. Show me someone who would never do that to their partner, like as in send these pictures.
It's the thought, isn't it, of all your friends and family seeing it. That was I was like, obviously I have a body. Everybody has a naked body.
But it's a power trip.
I don't walk around. It's that,
power.
And it's that thought of like all my friends, all my family, like my dad clicking on Facebook. What the fuck? That'd ruin my life. It'd ruin his fucking life.
But that's why they do it.
Like,
do you know
that's why they do it.
Do you know what that girl did though?
What?
Your friend?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Your friend took back the beat.
She did.
Hey.
She did take back the beat. She did take back the beat.
She took back the beat.
Yeah.
There we go.
But like she said to me, she was like, I am proud that is my body and that's what I look like. I felt sick and I knew that people would judge me for it. But I wasn't going to let him have that moment of making me feel that small again. She was like, I left that situation. So therefore, yeah, that is me. What are you going to do about it? And he shat himself and then he just deleted it all.
Good on her though, because like you said, it's already out.
Yeah.
If he's already done it.
Yeah.
But it's fucked up. But to go back to the flower fairy on there, flower fairy, that's hard to say.
Flower fairy.
The flower fairy.
Like,
we are making a joke out of it, but you were devastated. Like I remember it was I can even tell you it was the 18th of December of 2020. I know this because it was the day after my boyfriend's birthday and we were going for dinner. And I literally, you and my boyfriend have a very banter relationship. You take the piss out of each other about every freaking little thing. And I just looked at him and went, not this. And he was like, I know. And I remember he just walked in the house and he just put his arms out to give you a hug. And it was just like, we're joking about it now. But at the time, again, like you said, you've been single for
it was hard.
Fucking years. And you've had like flings and stuff. But there's been a lot of self-growth you've needed to do, because of the abusive relationship you were in and the fuckery of that. And then this happened and it felt like someone was there. It felt like someone, it was the fairy tale romance that we all dream of. We talk about some of the Tinder swindler. It's that thing of, oh my God, this will be the most incredible story. This is going to be love and Disney and birds are singing around my head.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it just felt like you said to me, you're like, I'm so embarrassed and mortified. And it was horrid.
Yeah. But we can, you know, you will have that one day. I will have that one day. Nat's got that. So it's nothing to be embarrassed about, like, at all. Those things happen. But unfortunately, sometimes it's the other people that should be embarrassed. Like, he should be mortified. So should she. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not shaming any women or anything, but like, I mean, we don't know what she's.
Yeah, she doesn't know the full story.
He's told her, but.
Yeah.
Girl, you deserve better than that. I'm telling you now.
Well, it was
that's a whole thing. Like he spent time doing that to you.
Oh my God, so much time.
Like
and
a
money.
lot of time.
So much money. And like, do you remember, Kel? He started watching my Instagram story. And at the time, my boyfriend was still on social media at this point. So he was watching his. And I put up a post on my, because obviously Kel had been speaking to the police and she was like, I'm a classy woman. I'm not going to name and shame her. But I was obviously saying how devastated you were, and there's a video on YouTube of the moment Kelly found out that it wasn't real, and it's heartbreaking. Like both me and Mum just sobbed watching it. It's horrific.
That's what I remember. Obviously seeing, and I messaged you because I was like, I had no freaking idea that it was like a whole thing because I've been keeping up with it as well. Like, you know, when I remember messaging when I saw that, I was like, fucking hell,
it's horrific. And I saw that, and I was livid. I was just like, I want to scream at him and I saw he was watching my story, so I put a post up that said my sister might have the grace of someone who's not going to out you, but I certainly fucking don't. Stop watching my Instagram, leave us alone. And he blocked me straight away.
I remember it.
Yeah, he blocked me and I was like, the police have advised us to open up and talk to you about it. They're not going to do anything. So back off, leave us alone. What you've done is stalker. It's harassment. It might seem like fun. It's harassment. And it's terrifying. It fucking ruined you. Like, you were devastated. And it took your confidence all the way back to the beginning.
It did. And that's why I stopped doing Single and Skin. Because I just couldn't... He ruined it for me. He tainted it. He turned it into something it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be entertainment. It was meant to be a safe space and a place for us to laugh and talk about things like we don't want to talk about and just have fun. We were going through lockdown, you know, and we needed something light and fun, and that's what it was. And then he turned it so sinister. Yeah. And he did take all my confidence away. And that's why I stopped Single and Skin. And it won't make another appearance because it's now not what it was for me.
No.
Because people say to me, why don't you do it anymore? I'm like, it's done. Like, it is done. So, you know, one of those things. But it was what it was, and, you know, we can't do anything about it now.
And it's a shame, because it was really funny, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, guys out there, please go look at YouTube, All's Fair in Love and Tinder. It's freaking hilarious, and it's all true, and it's all horrific. But before we let you go, so you left this guy, you started a new life in Brighton, and obviously, like you said, it's still... something that you come back to, and obviously then the flower fairy and all this sort of shit happens. Do you think going into a new relationship will be difficult? What expectations have you kind of got with this? And are you scared? Are you excited? Like how do you feel about it all?
You know, this is a big part of my thought process during the day. Like, I think about, because I am very maternal. I want babies. I want a wedding. And I want my family to be there. And I know it's a very big thing for me. And it's something that does kind of bring me down sometimes, because I think, why hasn't that happened for me? But when I do look at it, I think the reason that I'm not with someone is because I refuse to settle now.
Yes.
And when I say settle, that doesn't mean that people I've dated haven't been good enough. That's not what that means. It just means that I don't feel like we were matched 100%.
Yeah.
And what I want is 100%.
Yeah.
I want to have that person that puts me above anyone else that they've been with, and that makes me feel something, makes me feel good, makes me feel like I'm secure and that I'm loved. That's all anyone wants, right? But I also want that giddiness. I want to be able to be with someone that makes me feel like I want to touch them, I want to hug them, I want to kiss them. And unless you have that, I'm not going to settle. And whether that takes me a week, a month, or another 10 years, then so be it. Because I'm not going to allow someone to treat me the way he did, and for me to ever feel that way again. I just can't. I can't allow my mental health to go through that again, because I don't think I'd survive it again. If I'm completely honest, I don't think I would survive something like that again. And so I can't do that to my family. I can't do it to myself.
The thing is, I know this
it makes me nervous.
Like, even I know you think about your family, I'm the same, but also you're too strong after going through something like that. I'm the same. Like, forget about everyone else, not in a nasty way, but I'm like, I'd never do that to me again. Like, I love me too much to fucking let somebody do that to me. Like, I'm a queen. Like, no peasants for me, thank you, sir. Do you know what I mean? This is not going to happen.
This is something I quote to Kelly probably once a week, minimum. Is there's an incredible thing by Daniel Sloss. Everyone knows I'm obsessed with Daniel Sloss.
Legend.
Absolute legend. And he says this whole thing of like, if you only love yourself 20% and then someone comes in and loves you 30%, that is 70% less than 100%. That is not enough. That is less than half. But yet it's more than you love yourself. So therefore you'll accept it. And it's not... It's not okay, and it's not what I want for either of you guys or for myself.
I do the same with my cup. I'm like, how I don't want to, and this Natalie, you'll know this is all like really to do with like tarot and stuff. But if I've got a full cup, then that's great. I can give that full cup to someone, and they can give me theirs, and we can just make ourselves better. Whereas if my cup is not full, then I don't want to give that to someone else. I don't want to.
And they'll take it. Yeah,
I love
and
that.
They'll take it, and theirs might not be full. But then what starts to happen is you don't really know who you are. So then you'll fill each other's up, but it's just not, do you know what I mean? It doesn't mesh well in the sense of like energies and stuff. So I'm like, if I've got a full cup and you've got a full cup, like, let's go. And obviously no human being is perfect, but
no,
it's like, you've got to be happy with yourself. Like, I have days where I'm like, ugh, today, but but that's every single person on this planet will have those days, and if they don't, then like, what are you taking? Give me some.
Absolutely. But it's self-love and it's self-growth, and
it's self-love.
It's accepting yourself and knowing, do you know what, I'm a fucking queen, and whoever comes into my life will be a fucking king, and we will rule a kingdom together. And I say this again, and I know it's a very different opinion. I do not believe in the whole concept of completing someone or feeling completed by someone. Like, I am madly in love. I want to spend the rest of my life with this man that I am with now. Ugh, that's gross, isn't it?
Oh, God help us.
I know.
Why am I just
I'm joking,
grinning?
I love him.
I didn't even get it. I just sat grinning like,
bless him. But he doesn't complete me. I don't complete him. He is 100% a human. I am 100% a human. But together,
you have your own shit.
We have our own shit going on. But it's a lovely bonus having each other.
Yeah.
And we build each other up when the other is feeling sad, but we never take anything away. And I hate when everyone's like, I just need to find someone to complete me, or I feel something's missing. And it's like, no. That thing that's missing will still be there when you find another person. It will just be covered. And then eventually that will destroy the relationship, because they don't complete you. We're not a broken piece that needs fixing. We do that ourselves.
No.
And I say this to Kel all the time. I'm like, I genuinely believe the reason you've been single this long is because you've needed to work on you. and you've needed to accept who you are and love who you are, because if you don't, how do you expect someone else to? And also, how do you expect yourself to stand up for yourself and say, I don't deserve that? And it's such a hard thing to learn. And I know I can be a hypocrite because there's days when I'm like, ugh, but it's trying to remember
these are things that you have to tell yourself on those bad days. I go back to my like analogy of I say it on another podcast, so you've probably heard it, Kel, but of like that little girl inside me, and I'm like, I've got a picture of myself and I keep it on my desk, and I'm like, and I'm just in this happy moment, and I'm probably about 7, 8 years old. I've got a mouthful of food and I'm laughing hysterically, so I'm obviously very happy. And I just think, would I be mean to her? Would I?
No.
Like when I get up and I'm like, oh, look at that spot. Oh my God, you've got a grey hair. Or oh my God, who would want you? If I have those really bad days, I'm like, would you say that to her? Like, she's beautiful. She's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And if I'm like, we talk briefly again about, you know, eating disorders and stuff. I'm like, she don't care about eating disorders. She's got a mouthful of fucking What's-Its and like cake. She doesn't care. And she's having the time of her life.
We love a What's-It.
Yeah, like would I say those things to her? No. So therefore, I'm going to protect that, because she's still there. Like, there's still me, you know. But that is me, and I have to look after her.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah,
and those are the things that I say to myself every day, and I'm like, I've got you. Like, if no one else has, we've got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I always have to tell myself. So if you have a bad day, find a little picture of yourself and be like, I love her. I'm going to give her a massive hug. Because if she was stood in front of me,
I love that.
shit. No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, come here. You're having a bad day. Come here, babe. What can I do to make you feel better? And then I go buy myself a bunch of flowers, and I'm like, that made me feel better. Boom.
Great. Oh, it is just finding the ways, isn't it? And like something. I thought we had rattled on a lot on this. Sorry, guys, for the long episode, but fuck it. It's our podcast. Do what we want. So obviously, I spoke about this on the podcast a bit. Is obviously the end of last year, our dad was diagnosed with cancer, and it was the most horrific 6 months we've ever experienced. We genuinely, I remember sobbing to my mum saying, I'm not ready to lose my dad. And I mean, no one ever is, but it was horrific. And we sat in the day of his operation to get his prostate removed. Me and Kel sat in a coffee shop, and Kel said to me, she's like, I just want my dad to walk me down the aisle. And this is the time that I go, fuck, I want a partner. And I said to her, I was like, do not rush into something just because of this. Because I felt it too. Yeah. Mine was, I've always had this thing of my dad being in the audience at Wembley. That's always been my thing in my head. Yeah. And I was like, and I've not done that. And I don't know if he's proud of me. And I was like, of course he fucking is. And of course he's proud of you. And of course.
Absolutely he is.
It doesn't matter that neither of us have put on a wedding gown yet, and he's not had to do the speech that we know will be 30 minutes full of jokes. And props, and it's probably a costume change. But it's
magic
tricks. Yeah, and definitely a tap dance. But he doesn't care about that. He cares about if we are happy, and I think that is a main thing of everything. We put so much pressure on ourselves to have all these.
Oh, it's very easy to do that,
and have all these tick boxes of have you been married, have you done this, have you done that, and actually the main thing is, are you happy? And that is something I think they can't take that away from us. Like us three are strong, confident women that have all been through the fucking ringers with men, and actually the one thing they can't take away from us is my happiness now. So. On that very lovely moment.
Preach,
child. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Kel, so much for coming on. We'll let you get back to work because she's currently sat in a car park at work.
I know, it's really funny,
the fox
actually.
is okay.
Oh, yeah.
There was a little fox earlier limping.
I'm going to go and find him and maybe give him some straps of food or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There'll be something rambling in my car. Nags has been in here lately, so there'll probably be some food somewhere.
Probably. I love snacks. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love you.
No, thank you for having me. I love you
guys.
both lots and lots.
And peace out.
Thank you so much for listening to me. Woo! Peace out, A-Town.
A-Town down. Thank you so much, Kelly Gray.
What a treat.
I'm very proud of my sister for coming on, because she did say to me that she's very scared, and it's one of the things going, oh, Mum, I'm so sorry, you're going to have my episode and then Kelly's, and it's just, we're going to need a group cuddle. But very proud of her, very proud of the life she has made for herself and the strong-ass woman that she is now. You know?
Yes. Absolutely.
So sorry, this has been a bit of a longer one, but we are kind of taking a bit more time and we don't want to edit stuff out. So thank you guys for staying with us. Yeah. And before we love you and leave you, it's the win of the week.
Ooh. Well, okay, Nat's informed me.
Yeah.
She must be excited about this because she's told me about it, that she has one, but she won't tell me what it is.
Oh, it's ridiculous,
So
but I love it.
I'm hearing this with you guys for the first time.
Right.
So, Nat, I'm
Are
intrigued.
you ready? Are you ready for
I
this?
fucking can't wait. I've been waiting for an hour.
So-
Tell me.
So, the other day, I bought some Colin the Caterpillars.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
As in like Percy Pigs, but they're Colin the Caterpillars, and I freaking love them.
Are they the sour ones though?
No, not the sour ones, just the regular ones.
Oh, okay.
I know, I
the sour
do
ones,
like the
carry
sour
on.
ones, but the regular ones, you just can't beat them. They're just they're like a bourbon. They're the staple of
Oh, bourbons are
sweets.
shit. Carry on.
Oh,
We're not friends
wow.
anymore. We can't be friends.
Wow.
Guys, this is the last
Right,
podcast.
done.
Because she...
That's it. Right, we'll come back to that another day. Fuck me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day. I'll let you have this. Carry
Jesus,
on.
thought you knew someone. So yeah, I bought some Collins and I ate them because that's what you do, and I thought nothing of it. And then on Saturday night, I had a gig. I did a support for Billy the Kid because he was the first person that ever got one of my songs. Oh my God, what's the word? Signed. There you go. To New State Music. And he's like, do you want to come down and do a little spot on my DJ set of the song? And I was like, yes. And on the way home, I was really tired. I was feeling a bit like, oh, I just want to be in bed. And I reached over for my water bottle and found the empty
was it?
bag of Colin the Caterpillars.
Right.
It wasn't empty.
How
Babe,
many?
3.
Yes.
Oh, and I know this is a really, really silly win of the week, but I have never been that happy.
No, I'm smiling because I've done that when you're on the way home from a gig and you don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Because it's cold outside and
wanna get
you
to
just want to
bed.
get home and you literally sat thinking, what can I eat? I could do with some sweets. And
Yeah.
then you rummage around and when you find something that may have been there a while, don't judge
Doesn't
me.
matter. Absolutely does not matter. Never.
But you find it and you're like, oh my God,
God.
there's
Yeah.
that chocolate bar that I started eating 2 weeks ago. It's different. Mate, yeah, you can have that one.
Thank
That's for you.
And do you know what was even better? It was my favourite flavours. It was the lemon ones, the like green and yellow stripped ones.
You like lemon as well?
Oh my God, I don't know who you are anymore.
I'm questioning our entire friendship.
No, do you know what actually this works? Because whenever we share a tin of biscuits, I will have the bourbons.
This is true. This is probably
And
why we've got along so well,
probably why we're
because you
friends.
like all the
Yeah.
things that I don't. So
Exactly.
I'll
You
eat
can
the
just give them
custard
to me.
creams. You can
I'll
eat.
fight you for them, but sure, yeah.
Listen, you get one or the other. So
Fair. But yeah, I literally was like, what? I'm about to like bin it. I was like, oh, I need to put that in like my glove compartment and bin it. I was like, oh my God, that's not empty. And genuinely at 3:30 in the morning, there was nearly a single tear just like dripping down my cheek.
So
And
to
it was the
any
best
normal
moment.
people who are listening, who are like,
Yeah.
these bitches are crazy. We are.
Get a
but
life. We are, yeah, we
It's
know
the
that.
equivalent to finding £20 in an old coat that you didn't have on
Yeah.
since last winter. Like that's how it feels when it's that,
That's a
late
very
and you're
good
driving on
analogy.
your own
Yeah.
and you just want chocolate
wanna
or
go to
shit and then
bed.
you find it. Amazing.
Yeah. So that is my win of the week.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'm absolutely okay with it.
I'm very proud of how you built that up for me for the last hour.
Thank you. You're so welcome.
Very-
Told you it was magical.
It was magical, but the way you were going on, I thought you'd met a unicorn or something, but never mind. I was like, why won't she tell me? Like, God, she's not even put it in a voice note. This is huge. It's still
It was
huge,
magical.
but the way you've been carrying on, honestly, I thought you could like...
Little bit disappointed.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm good. I'm being honest with you.
Wow. Well, on that note, I'm going to go
sorry.
and
I
eat
took
some
it away
bourbons.
from you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you guys so much for tuning in once again and listening to us ramble on. Like we said, if you guys want to write in, if you want to tell us your story, it's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. Also, please do continue to tweet Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Aldi, Lidl, Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's, whoever.
Tell them we
Yes,
need the
get
Biscoff.
them
Let
sponsorship.
Biscoff know.
Let Biscoff know. Right, love you guys.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Take back the beat.
We do apologise if anyone was triggered by any of the dialogue we used today. We are still learning and we are only just beginning to talk about our own experiences. We're aware that trigger warnings are completely different for everybody, so please bear with us. We love you all. We also want to hear your experiences. If there's anything you'd like to share with us, any stories, anything you are happy to discuss on this podcast, you can stay anonymous if you would like. Please send us an email at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at Take Back the Beat. Thanks, guys. We love you all.